Hello, this is Adam from Silent Audio. I'm here to talk to you about Infinite Flow. This is our new synth that we are really proud of. Infinite Flow takes its inspiration from vintage poly synths from the late 70s and early 80s. And we really focused on the little tiny things that make those feel kind of warm and, kind of gritty a little bit. And what we're really focusing on is micro imperfections in the way the sound is processed that, in our opinion, makes everything just sort of feel good and warm and comfortable and analog, for lack of a better term. So this is going to be a quick video. I'm going to do a much longer deep dive video, but this is just a quick overview for people so that you can dive in and hopefully make some great music. So the first thing that you see is that everything is split up into sections. I'm going to go section by section by section. So we're going to talk about this first top left section to begin with. Now this is what we call our oscillator macro section. So this is a way similar to a SuperSaw if you've ever used another software synthesizer. It's a way of basically taking the same oscillator setting and duplicating it around to other oscillators. Here we can detune the oscillators on either side of the center. Here we can change the panning. We can change the mix of the center versus the sides. We can change the overall gain. And then we can also change the oscillator shape for all of the different oscillators. If you come over to the oscillator non-macro section, you can see that all of the changes that I just made in the panning and the gain and there's even the detuning and the shape are all reflected right here. Now we operate with what's called a last touch principle. So if I detune something here, you're going to see these get a little more detuned as they go down, but then I can go in and I can manually change them and they're going to be as they were until or unless I go and I change it again. So it's whatever you touched less. If you don't want to use the macros, you want to deal with every oscillator individually, you totally can do that as well. We have some other synth controls, glide, number of voices. This is individual voice panning. Now, one of the things that you're going to learn how to do if you use this synth is you're going to learn how to think in terms of what is a voice versus what is an oscillator or a sound or something like that. And basically what a voice is when you hold one note down on the keyboard and you hold a second note down. That second, those are two independent voices. So everything in our synth is built around really understanding this concept, one voice and another voice, and creating differences between those two different voices. So in this case, one of the voices is panned to the left and the other voice is panned to the right, and that's creating sort of a panned thing on a per voice basis. We have a mod matrix. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. And then we have some synth settings and stuff like that. Coming down, we have our two filters. Now the filters run in serial, so it goes filter 1 going into filter 2. A lot of our images are actually selectors, so you can click on the filter and you can select different filter shapes. When in doubt, I really like this KRLP. It's probably my favorite of the filters. Now, all of our ADSRs, they're hard-coded, so ADSR1 is always hard-coded to be the amp ADSR. ADSR2 is always hard-coded to be the filter ADSR if you choose it. You can also use them for other purposes, which I'll talk about in a second, but by default, that's how they are set up in the back end. Here are our 5 effects. I'm not going to go through each one individually, but I'll just say that you can turn them on and off like this. You can reorder them. The signal goes down, starting from the top, going down to the bottom. Here is our ADSR. We have ADSR 1, 2, and 3. You can change your ADSR shapes if you click on this. I happen to really love these 3 shapes right here. I think that they're very musical sounding, but we also have some other kind of weird, quirky ADSR shapes that you can play with as well as just a perfectly linear ADSR right there. LFO, it's very similar. you can click on it and select all the shapes. We have our basic LFO shapes right here. These top 4 and then these 2, these are random based shapes. So there's going to be a little bit of unpredictability to what's going on here with those 6 right there. And then these ones are weird shapes, but they're always the exact same no matter what you do. These are what we call our sources. So these are all mod sources, including these words down here: mod wheel, key track, velocity, and aftertouch. So all of our mod sources, you can click and you can drag and you can actually make a connection. And you can see that we just made a connection up there. I can also edit the connection either up here in the mod matrix panel, or if I right click on the place where I just made the connection, I can make changes to the amount, or I can remove the connection completely. Same with the ADSRs and LFOs and so on. Now in the mod matrix, we also have secondary modulation, which controls the amount of this first connection. And you can also change the amount here, or even the direction of the amount here, or we can delete our mod connection like that. Now let's talk about some of the stuff going on up here. This is just a little DOS kind of style window, which kind of logs everything you're doing. Not the most essential, but we like it a lot. We use it a lot to sort of see what's going on. This is our master output gain. Now, I would be pretty careful with this because this is a vintage emulation of a synth. You can push things a little too far, and if things start to clip, it can be a little bit of a not great sound. So keep an eye on the gain. Make sure if you see any yellows, that's when you're starting to get in the danger zone. If you see any reds, that's when you are in the danger zone, and you should probably bring your master gain down. Right here, and I should warn everybody that if you are sensitive to flashing images, this oscilloscope can make some flashing images. So if you are sensitive to that, just make sure you come and you turn off the scope over here in the settings. And in this video, there's going to be some flashing images, so just be forewarned. So you can see that this is our oscilloscope. Now, this is called I'm probably saying it wrong, Lucidju oscilloscope, and basically what it's doing is it's measuring the phase difference between the left and the right channel. So if we have one oscillator, let's put it right in the middle, and let's turn off all the effects so we don't have any stereo stuff going on. So you're going to see a straight line, and that basically means that there is no difference between the left and the right channel. But if we start to introduce any a phase difference between the left and the right channel, like right here where I take 2 oscillators, now you can start to see a little bit of an more interesting shape going on. And the shape, it depends on the type of oscillator that you are playing with. You can see this is a triangle wave, a little more of a square kind of a shape. This is a sine wave, a little more of a circle or oval sort of a shape. Let's talk about the slop and the voice variance. Now, if you click on the voice variance menu, you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff. This is a big subject to talk about, but basically this is what's going on underneath the hood to make things a little bit off from each other. If that's interesting to you, then go nuts. You can make your own models. We'll make some videos about how to make your own voice variance models. But if that's not interesting to you and you just want a cool sound, you can go through our voice variance models like this. We have a few of them that we really, really carefully, painstakingly made from some vintage, authentic polysynths from the era. And let's go back to our basic pad shape. And you might be able to hear, you can sort of hear the character of the synth changing as we go through the different models that we captured from these authentic synths. Now, if something is a little too much character, you can play with the slop. So this one might be a little too gritty and weird for you. Now you can find your sweet spot. Slop at a 0 is going to be perfectly mathematically precise. Slop all the way here is going to be 200% of the model that we captured, and maybe your version is somewhere around here. It's all up to you to define where it is that your sound sounds good. If we scroll through here, we can click through a lot of different presets that we have already designed. You can also click on this patches and you can scroll through presets as well. This is also where you can save patches and you can add your own information and so on if that's what you want. We happen to think that this sounds really good and really sort of vibey, and we've made a whole bunch of presets that we think showcase that really, really well. But it's up to you to define where you think you're comfortable with and the sounds that you think move you for your music.